Some shocking events occurred in 2020, including Joni Lamb's shocking revelation regarding her husband Marcus Lamb's death. Their private life has been shrouded in secrecy for decades, attracting incessant curiosity and speculation. However, Joni is now revealing the truth. Come find out the shocking details of Marcus Lamb's death with us. The wedding of Joni and Marcus Lamb was a lovely small ceremony full of joy, love, and optimism for the future. The couple's long history of friendship was founded on shared values and a strong bond of faith. Their shared involvement in the Christian, they met through their shared passion for ministry and soon realized they had discovered something extraordinary. This led to the beginning of their relationship. Their relationship was built on trust, love, and shared values, so the decision to get married felt right to them. Despite its lack of frills, their wedding was a perfect symbol of their lives together as a couple dedicated to serving God and one another. The ceremony was small but beautiful, and the location was perfect. A tranquil spot that spoke volumes about the idyllic upbringings of Joni and her fiancé. Their vows, which included commitments to love and mutual support in their shared mission, were something of which Marcus and Joni were justifiably proud. Joni, who exuded an air of timeless grace at all times, sported a stunning, form-fitting gown. Marcus, who wore a dapper suit, stood beside her, smiling calmly and honestly, obviously in awe of the bride-to-be. The ceremony had the sacred air of a baptism, symbolizing the beginning of a lifetime of love between the couple. On their wedding day, they began a new chapter in their professional lives, which was just as meaningful as the union of two lovers. Christian television network Daystar, which Joni and Marcus began co-founding shortly after their marriage, would eventually reach millions of viewers across the globe. Their friendship extended beyond the workplace. They obviously shared a common goal for the growth of the network. Over the years, their bond grew stronger as they shared a love for sharing the gospel and utilizing their platform to assist others. As ministry partners and a couple who weathered life's storms side by side, Joni and Marcus kept on building a life together. Faith, mutual support, and unwavering commitment formed the foundation of their relationship. They stuck together no matter what, whether it was at work or in their personal lives. The couple's love story revealed their common goals and ideals, and their wedding day marked the beginning of a path that would have far-reaching consequences. Love and partnership, whether in a personal or professional context, are powerful, and their commitment to one another and their work together was a strong reminder of that. I just want to start by saying that our marriage is stronger than it has ever been and that you and I are very strong. I love you with all my heart because you are a perfect angel. I will tell you this though, Joni and Marcus Lamb's marriage had its share of issues that, no matter how hard they tried, eventually became insurmountable. Their undivided devotion to one another, their religion, and their job at Daystar Television Network gave the impression that they were the picture-perfect couple. On the other hand, their relationship wasn't all sunshine and rainbows when they were by themselves. In addition to juggling the demands of their ministry, their personal lives, and the expectations of their audience, these prominent Christian broadcasting network leaders were constantly scrutinized by the public. Despite their mutual love for their work, the strain on their marriage began to show signs of deterioration over time. They struggled to find quality time together due to the emotional and physical demands of being famous. On a frequent basis, Marcus would be away on business. Joni was heavily involved in the ministry, while Marcus was busy with business or running the network. They were both ambitious and wanted to make it big, but they were both overshadowed by their jobs. They drifted apart not because they didn't care about one another as people, but because their work kept them too busy to give their relationship the attention it deserved. The fact that they were each coping with their own personal emotional issues also added strain to their marriage. Little did anyone know that Marcus had been secretly fighting battles. Even though Marcus's health issues had been a secret for a long time, they began to impact their relationship. Even though she had always been Marcus's rock, his wife Joni began to fret over him and feel overwhelmed by their duties. Their marriage and Marcus's mental and physical health were suffering. Joni, who was resilient, began to experience the stress of juggling her feelings of isolation with the demands of their ministry and their home life. But their relationship crumbled because they stopped having the frank discussions that had brought them together. They began to isolate themselves rather than discuss their emotions or the difficulties they were facing. Marcus, who was unable to adequately communicate his feelings, grew even more distant, while Joni, who felt as though they were drifting apart, grew increasingly solitary. They cared for each other deeply, but the strains of their shared lives had created an impenetrable barrier that they were unable to overcome. Their painful divorce illustrates how life, work, and personal problems can put a strain on even the strongest relationships. They were unable to reestablish the bond they had previously shared despite their profound love for one another and shared goals for their ministry. Although it was an uncomfortable truth for them both, they could no longer deny it. They had done their best to keep things in check, but eventually it all became too much, and their marriage suffered the consequences. Lamb and I were both proud of the life we had created together. As a family, we were well known, and we also helped found Daystar television network, a ministry that reached millions. However, always lurking beneath that flawless facade were nagging suspicions. My husband Marcus and I were the targets of devastating rumors that circulated about our marriage and his character. I knew I had to summon the willpower to disregard them, even though it became increasingly difficult as they progressed. In reality, it was Marcus's infidelity with his wife that surfaced as the initial major rumor. At first, it was simply the typical form of idle rumors circulated by those in the public eye. Someone would whisper something, and we would dismiss it as yet another unfounded accusation. However, word got out, the media became involved, and what had been a mere rumor had developed into a full-blown story. According to their portrayal, Marcus was a duplicitous individual who had betrayed me. Questions began to flow in as the whispers grew louder. When the rumors damaged our relationship, it hurt the most. In our professional and personal lives, we had always stood together. For a long time, nothing had ever broken the trust and mutual support that had grown between us. However, that was eroded by the relentless stream of rumors. How could they think that about Marcus? It hurt like hell every time we heard another rumor about his alleged affairs. Why would they put their faith in something so obviously wrong? The public and the media weren't the only ones responsible, though. I came to understand that. Our churchgoers, co-workers, and even some of our closest friends began to view us with distrust. Ignoring the background noise didn't help. It was as if the walls were closing in on us. Marcus, at the time, opted to remain out of the spotlight and the circulating stories, but I couldn't help but speak out about the rumors. I wanted to protect his honor and stand up for the man I knew, the one who was devoted to our family, our job, and his religion, by defending him. Protecting him wasn't the only goal. Protecting ourselves and proving to the world that our love and devotion were genuine were also paramount. However, as time went on, it became apparent that these rumors were negatively impacting our marriage. We were exhausted from the continual speculation, scrutiny, and pressure. We attempted to keep our personal lives out of the spotlight, but the media's fixation on them began to strain our relationship. Even though he had always been the rock, Marcus began to withdraw after being wounded by the accusations and unsure of how to respond. He opted to conceal himself rather than confront the reality. Allegations directly, he retreated into himself to evade the mayhem all around him, further isolating us. Marcus, who was naturally more reserved and private, began to feel the strain of the continual negativity, and I wanted to confront him, talk it out, and clear the air, but he wasn't the kind to enjoy public fights. The burden of the rumors was heavy on his spirit, and I could see the anguish in his eyes as he struggled through it. On some nights, I stayed up all night worrying about the rumors and trying to figure out how people truly felt about our marriage. put an end to visualizing the devastation inflicted upon our standing and the joint accomplishments we had achieved. It was painful enough that someone could think Marcus wasn't totally committed to me, but it was much worse that these rumors were more than just idle gossip. They demonstrated how fast opinions can shift in a world where being famous and successful often means being scrutinized. It appeared like there was no way out of the web of public opinion from which we were entangled. Accusations circulated regarding Marcus's character, stating that he prioritized his ambitions over his faith and ministry. Many of Daystar's longtime fans began to question his integrity and motivations. They questioned whether he had lost sight of the spiritual mission that had initially motivated him and become overly preoccupied with the commercial aspects of his success. I feel the deepest pain from these rumors because they bring disgrace to Marcus and all that he stood for. The public casting doubt on Daystar's long-standing commitment to faith, family, and service broke my heart. It seemed like someone was trying to destroy everything we had worked so hard to establish. As soon as word got out, they bought into every rumor and blew everything out of proportion. They seemed poised to ruin all we had accomplished, as if they were anticipating our demise. The most frustrating aspect was that, despite our best efforts, the rumors and falsehoods about Marcus and me continued to circulate. It got worse every time we brought it up in public. In reality, the harm had already been done, and during those difficult times, it was impossible to reverse it, regardless of our words or actions. More than ever before, Marcus and I needed one other. We sought solace in the love that had remained a unifying force throughout our lives, prayed together, and relied on our faith. There was continual pressure, and it seemed like we were battling an uphill struggle. Despite my knowledge that the rumors were unfounded, the continual negativity and strain they caused on our relationship was detrimental. Keeping an optimistic outlook and holding on to the hope that things could return to normal were both challenging. Nevertheless, we remained united in the face of all the rumors and whispers. We were aware that people stopped paying attention to the rumors and moved on to the next great thing as time passed. Years of speculation and public scrutiny had already done their damage, and now it was our turn to pick up the pieces of our lives. Although it was difficult, Marcus and I gained an important lesson from the experience. Knowing the truth was paramount, regardless of the intensity of the rumors or the volume of the critics. Some of the most distressing and annoying things to cope with were the rumors regarding Marcus and my finances. Being public figures, particularly as the owners of Daystar television network, was nothing new to us. Ever since we entered the public eye, we anticipated that gossip and speculation about our personal lives would circulate. Contrast this with the wild speculation about money. I still don't think people completely grasp the extent to which those rumors damaged us. They were more than just false accusations or idle gossip. They cut to the core of our personal and professional achievements as a team. Rumors began to circulate that Marcus was said to have been careless with Daystar's money. Accusations surfaced that he had been concealing his wealth and was allegedly exploiting the ministry for personal gain. The fact that these rumors masked Marcus's true identity caused him great pain. His entire life had been devoted to the development of Daystar, and he always acted in a way that benefited the ministry and the people we served. However, the rumors painted him as an unscrupulous, avaricious klepto who was only interested in enriching himself at the cost of his trusting followers. I found this to be the most frustrating aspect. The enormity of Daystar's network, consisting of thousands of employees, millions of dollars in donations, and a global reach, was misunderstood by many. It was clearly not a small operation. Everyone was watching our every move and dollar, but somehow word got out about our money problems anyhow. Some even accused Marcus of stealing, which was the most frustrating part because it was completely unfounded. Along with being a man of faith, Marcus many believed he was taking advantage of Daystar for his own benefit, but our collaboration was centered around serving those in need and sharing the gospel with them. The fact that the rumors began to circulate and were covered by the media was like getting slapped in the face. Marcus's purported hidden accounts and wealth seemed to be the subject of a new story every week. Every time I read one of those articles, I felt like I was reading about someone else entirely. It was true that both Marcus and I were totally devoted to our ministry. Daystar was our lifeblood, and yes, we did it for the money. It was never about the money. Instead, we consistently reinvest in the network to expand it and guarantee that all resources were directed towards advancing the mission. Conversely, the rumors painted Marcus as little more than a typical businessman seeking to profit from the labor of others. Managing the emotional fallout of these accusations while also protecting Marcus' reputation was challenging. I had faith in Marcus' integrity and knew he would never take advantage of anyone, especially with his ministry on the line. However, as word got out, those who had supported us began to, after years of unwavering support, some Daystar fans began to doubt our reliability. The speed with which people could betray another without all the information was shocking to me. These falsehoods persisted despite my repeated reassurances that anyone who knew Marcus or had any understanding of his work would never believe them. Our ministry and reputation were damaged. Averting the rumors was our goal. We consulted with accountants to get to the bottom of things, and Marcus did make remarks that shed light on Daystar's financial procedures. We wanted to be thorough, so we opened the books and showed everyone where the money was going. However, no matter how much we tried to explain, rumors persisted, people had preconceived notions, and the media was more concerned with sensationalizing the story than reporting the facts. Being a private person, Marcus found it shocking to have his honesty publicly questioned, and the continual barrage of accusations began to hurt him. Despite his unwavering faith in his work and Daystar's mission, he began to question their efficacy in light of these rumors. It was clear that he was struggling under the weight of everything. After all, running a network like Daystar was no easy feat. The funds were reinvested in the network's programs, outreach, and personnel, not merely in the Lamb family. Despite our best efforts, it became increasingly difficult to maintain concentration in the face of persistent scrutiny and rumors, so we redoubled our efforts to make a positive impact on the world. Rather than concentrating on the task at hand, it seemed like we were perpetually engaged in a struggle to protect ourselves. Sitting next to Marcus, I had to reassure him that we were acting righteously, unlike those who were attempting to bring us down. However, I also began to feel defeated. Marcus' reputation and our family life were both damaged by the financial rumors. Our household was negatively impacted by the stress of constantly defending ourselves, the barrage of questions, and the public scrutiny. Feeling powerless, I watched as Marcus battled the weight of the falsehoods being circulated about him. We were being driven apart after putting in countless hours to build Daystar and create a positive impact on the world. The rumors weren't the only thing that hurt. People were casting doubt on our integrity, our goals, and everything we had accomplished as a couple. On some nights, Marcus would pace the floor and try to make sense of all the lies people were telling about him. Even though he rarely backed down from a fight, this one was different. His mental health was beginning to suffer as a result of the rumors, and I could not turn a blind eye to it. Even though Marcus's strength had always been something I respected, I could tell this was having an impact on him that I couldn't fathom. Seeing him fight was difficult. I reassured him multiple times, but it was for naught. The damage had been done, and his reputation took a hit. In hindsight, I can see how those rumors had a significant impact on our lives. They were a source of tension in our marriage and a cloud over our ministry. Nonetheless, Marcus maintained his dedication to the Daystar mission. The deceit would not define him or his accomplishments. He would not allow it. I was there for him, ready for the truth to emerge, but when the rumors were rampant, it was difficult to fathom. We had no intention of evading them. Although they were only a small part of our journey, the poor financial reports wounded us and tested our faith, relationships, and resilience.